Good afternoon and welcome to this council meeting for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. It is May 8th, 2024. It is 5 p.m. and I'll call this meeting to order. Clerk Tara, if you get us started, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Droulard, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich opens at 5 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
And our land acknowledgement, Councillor Dreyfus, please.
We will begin by acknowledging that the land in which we gather is the traditional territory of the First Nations people who have long-standing relationships to the land, water, and regions of southwestern Ontario. We also acknowledge the local Lower Thames River watershed communities, which include Chippewas of the Thames,
Thank you for that. I would remind council of any declaration of pecuniary interest. I see none. Number 4 is the adoption of the draft minutes. We're in everyone's package for the meeting. Are there any changes, errors, or omissions? The minutes will be adopted as presented to council. Clerk Tara, are there any items not listed on the agenda?
We have 2 items that are added to this meeting. One will be under new business. We'll have a discussion about the fire department. And under the closed session, we'll be adding a personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal employees, section 2392B of the Municipal Act for the fire department.
Okay, thank you. Planning, we have to wait until 5:30. So we'll go on to correspondence. And the first item is the OPP invitation to graduation night of the Citizens Police Academy. Anyone wish to speak to that? Councillor Droulard.
I wondered how well it was attended. I was hoping that it was well attended. Do we know, or we don't have any feedback? And I do plan to go. It's in my calendar. Yeah.
I would recommend that council at least point 2 people to attend from council to attend the event. That would be my recommendation to council.
Okay, I plan on attending. Does anyone else wish to attend?
I would like.
Okay, well,
So
all welcome.
there's 3 of us going.
Do we have to RSVP on that?
They asked that we would.
Staff will take care of that for us.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's all my people. It's just listens.
Okay, resolution, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that correspondence item 7A from the Ontario Provincial Police be received and filed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Item B, the City of St. Catharines provincial regulation needed to restrict keeping of non-native exotic wild animals. Any discussion on that item? Okay, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Droulard, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the City of St. Catharines petitioning the provincial government to implement provincial regulations to restrict the possession, breeding, and use of non-native exotic wild animals and licensed zoos in order to guarantee the fair and consistent application of policy throughout Ontario for the safety of Ontario's citizens and non-native exotic wild animal population, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the City of St. Catharines. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Item C, the Township of Archipelago Public Health Ontario proposes phasing out of free water testing for private wells. Anyone care to comment on that one? See no one, so Clerk Tara, please, resolution.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the township of the archipelago requesting the province to reconsider and ultimately decide against the proposed phasing out of free private drinking water testing services, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the township of Archipelago. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Loyalist Township, motion regarding public health laboratories. Council wish to speak to that one. Don't see any, so Clerk Tara, resolution please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from Loyalist Township urging the provincial government to take caution against the closure of 6 community-based Public Health Ontario labs, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and Loyalist Township. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that relevant correspondence was reviewed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Go ahead, Brent, do you have a,
I'm able to comment through source water protection. We received- We received a notice from the Minister, I think, of Environment, that they were seriously now considering not closing and continuing on with rural well water testing in the province of Ontario.
so our support of that resolution might be too late? Still good. Okay, thank you, Brent. Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda and we'll break it up into parts. We'll go from 1 to 5. And I'll read them off. Watson and Associates, assessment of Bill 185. Number 2 is the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus monthly update. Number 3, Watson and Associates Economists Limited, assessment of Bill 134, the Affordable Homes and Good Jobs Act. Number 4, the County of Elgin Council highlights. And number 5 is the Dutton Dunwich Economic Development Committee newsletter. Does council wish to speak to any one of those items? Okay, I see nothing. Item B is the committee reports. We have the Cenotaph Committee, Dutton Dunwich Cultural Heritage Committee, Dutton Dunwich Economic Development Committee, Dutton Dunwich Recreation, Dutton Dunwich Trans-Shannon Trail, Elgin Area Primary Water System, Emergency Management Committee, Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority Board of Directors, Occupational Health and Safety Committee, Tri-County Water Board, West Elgin Community Center Board of Management. Does council wish to speak to any one of those items? Councilor Dreyfus.
Just a question, just wondering if there's been any work done with the Trans-Canada Trail at all, or what the committee looks like? Or I think Councillor Pemberton are participating in that, so I'm just wondering.
Yeah, we haven't gotten together recently. We got together last year. I think twice last year we got together. I think we're still looking at the project at the end of Daytona there to get down to the lake, but there hasn't been much going on. I think there were some signs that were put up last year and stuff like that. And was there a bench? Something? Yeah, there was a bench that was done last year, but yeah, no, we haven't had our meeting recently.
It has come up in the Heritage Committee, and is there anything that the Heritage Committee can do for a plaque or anything at all? So I'm just asking that question because the discussion has come up in the committee. So
I still in touch with Ruth quite often. I ran into Brad, Ruth's partner. He's working at Full Line Farm Equipment. And we had a chat about there, and they have been in the trails, both Ruth, and minimal work to be done, according to Brad. And I know the bench was, I think, for Mark Halls. So I would encourage, probably a good time to get a meeting. And do you have Ruth's number or? Okay. Anything further? Okay. We'll move on to the staff monthly reports. We have the manager of roads and facilities monthly report. I'm going to stop there. Does anyone wish to discuss Murray's report? Pretty clear, I guess. Water operations manager monthly report. Another excellent report, as usual. Number 3 is the wastewater operator monthly report. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, Mayor Hens. I wanted to say openly and publicly that there was some issues caused by rain on some of the side roads, and that the roads department were on top of it. I did let them know it was on a weekend and it was really some bad condition. And they were right on top of it at first thing Monday morning. Like, I wasn't even heading to work and they were already working on it. But because of the rain, and I did let people who called and let me know, like, they can't get equipment on this road. So they were on top of it, and I just wanted to give them a bit of a shout out because sometimes they don't get enough of the attaboys.
They get more of the other side of the story. So anytime we have good news, let's please share it. So that's terrific. The wastewater operator monthly report. Any comments on that? I have one, and it's more of a question. We've all seen the CCTV scan of our sewer system. Is Archie planning on taking action on some of them issues that popped up?
I think he's waiting for Dylan's final report. That was just a draft that you got because there's some stuff there still missing. But I think that when we met with Dylan, that Archie did agree that we need to, because they're not that bad, so it won't take much to go in and clean those. Like Jason was saying, you can get a little machine, almost like a scrub brush, and it'll go, you push it through and it should get a lot of that stuff and get it cleaned up. So, but I might have to wait till next year's budget. I don't know.
Well, I suggest we deal with it, but you're holding the purse strings. Item 4, monthly building activity report. Any comments on that? Go ahead.
I was just saying it's really good news. It's up significantly in comparison to last year, and even our overall year over year is very favorable. So that's good news.
Okay, thank you. The fire chief monthly report. Any questions? We have the man.
Hot seat.
And
Good evening, council. Yeah, the reports in your council package tonight. I'll just highlight a couple of quick items for the benefit of council. Did some mutual aid training in the month of April. And just, you'll see the NFPA 1001 recruit class course is mentioned there. And actually this evening and last Wednesday, Dutton's hosted the class at the fire hall. So there's, I think they've broken it up. So there's 35 to 40 recruits each Wednesday night. So they're doing, I think it's a review, their final review before some of them have been through live fire already, and some of them, or they all have testing coming up. So anyways, they've been utilizing the Dutton station the last couple Wednesday nights. Solar eclipse planning, I don't recall if this was discussed at the last monthly meeting. Anyways, we had apparatus staffed, excuse me, for April 8th. Thankfully, it was quiet, so there was no response necessary, but we were prepared. It was fairly quiet across the whole county, but we were prepared if anything did come up. Deputy chief interviews were conducted on April 22nd. Interview panel of myself, Chief Raymond Omrod from Central Elgin, and also county coordinator, and Andrea Laughlin from the county, the manager of the fire school. The three of us conducted interviews of all the applicants that were interested. So it was great to go through that. And obviously the communications later in the package tonight regarding that. And just a note there on pump, I'll say the old pump 4, pump 74 has a cracked poly tank. So thankfully we have a replacement truck on the way in, I'll say 6 months, but so it doesn't change our operations too much. But we will rely, if we need extra water that we don't have on that truck now, we'll rely on mutual aid if we have to, so.
Any questions for Chief MacArthur?
Just one on that specifically. Is there any benefit or is it possible to repair that tank, or are we just throwing good money after bad to do that?
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair. So it would be repairable. I don't think from a practicality standpoint, given the age of the apparatus and where I believe it's on the bottom corner. I don't know exactly where the crack is, but I think from a practicality standpoint, given the age of the truck, and there's really, if you factor in the insurance ratings and everything else, there would be no gain, no benefit there. If it had been earlier, if we hadn't had a new truck ordered on the way or being delivered before the end of the year, then I think we would maybe reconsider that. But yeah, so I hope that answers that question.
Great, that's perfect. Thank you.
Further. I do have a question on that truck. Is there any residual value to it, or how do you anticipate disposing of that unit that's being replaced?
Yeah, through the chair or to the chair, to council. I'm not aware of typically what surplus equipment happens in Dunwich. I apologize, but typically I would recommend we would look at surplusing it through gov deals or something along those lines. So it's hard to say. There is older tankers that are kind of holding some of their value. I mean, when I say value, you may look at 20, 30, maybe 40,000. A pumper, unfortunately, the pumper with the cracked tank, there's still some value in the low mileage, the generally good body condition, just the low mileage, but it's hard to speculate. I would think 10, 15,000, maybe. Yeah, that would be a best guess. But.
Thank you. Not a lot of money. Okay. Anything further for Chief MacArthur? Thank you for that. Next is the Drainage Superintendent Monthly Report, and we do have our Drainage Superintendent here. Is there anything further you want to add, Brent? And join the hot seat for questions.
All I would like to add is the Allen McCollum Drain, we have a pre-construction meeting on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. So that will be constructed, and construction will start in the next couple of weeks on that.
Some people you made very happy with that news. Anything further for Brent? Thank you. The Recreation Monthly Activity Report. Does council wish to discuss that one? Next is the Planning Monthly Activity Report. And we have our planner here as well. So any questions or discussion on that one? I'll let you off easy, Tracy. And we have the Clerk Monthly Activity Report, and we have our clerk with us too. Anything from council? We have our CAO Treasurer Monthly Activity Report. Any questions?
I was busy.
Okay. Clerk Tara, I think we've got through all of the reports on the consent agenda.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the items on the consent agenda be approved. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Okay. Still not 5:30, so we'll move on to number 9, I guess, the CAO Treasurer's Report. She has 2 reports, so I'll let our CAO Treasurer deliver the report.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Yes, so the first one is something you guys have been looking for a while. I was trying to get people's job descriptions up to date and in the proper positions. That's very slow going. But this is just kind of the first outline where I see maybe we should be heading. I'm not saying this needs to be this year or, but I've laid it out basically on, just with the changing environment and the workloads for municipalities. The first one being the financial sustainability, which is tied to our asset management plan. So we really need a required dedicated focus on this asset management plan. And the second is the need to better align some of the environmental services activities under a different organizational unit to ensure the increased coordination and collaboration. So those just are the two new things you'll see on that chart, where I've left, bylaw, cemetery, emergency management, archival, and Service Ontario under Manager of Legislative Services / clerk, Manager of Infrastructure and Development with a Corporate Services admin, which we already have basically. That would have planning, drainage, CBO, water and wastewater. And then under roads and facilities, it'd be basically the same. There'd be the working foreman with the full-time staff, waste management, landfill, and then the working foreman for parks, which he would look after the parks operator, students and cleaning staff. And then under treasury, right now we have 2 accounting clerks. I'm suggesting we go to 1 accounting clerk and get a deputy treasurer. And then the fire department is with the fire chief, deputy chief, and the captains and volunteer firefighters. So anyways, that's just kind of the first little draft for you guys to look at and think about and make suggestions on. Definitely not set in stone, obviously, so.
We'll just pause there for a minute and see if there's any questions from council on that report. It's just kind of blue skying here at this time. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Loveland. I think you were up first.
I'm glad to hear that it's something we can work towards over time. That was a concern of mine, that we weren't going to have to hire more staff right away. I think we need to do some planning on where we're heading on a lot of areas, and we'll probably be discussing that in a future meeting. But overall, I kind of support where we're going here.
Councillor Dreyfus.
So the manager of infrastructure and development and deputy treasurer, those are 2 separate positions. So could you just, I know we had discussed within our committee that we weren't sure either which way we were going to go. So maybe a little bit more clarity on that. Just
Well, I think maybe we're very much in need of a stronger finance person in the treasury department. So that's why I'm saying right now we have 2, but we would go down. We would have to do some finagling to get it. And then this manager of infrastructure and development would be more, it doesn't have to be an engineer. It could be like a civil engineering tech, but somebody that understands the engineering side along with the asset management, because it's not just a finance job. That's where some people think it's a finance job. It's not. It's both, right? So you need people that understand. Like I have a Loria. She was our summer student last year, cutting grass, but this year she's helping me. And just having somebody that when I start talking about assets, she doesn't glaze over or look at me like I got 3 heads. So I think that's where if you had somebody like that, they would be helpful with the assets and also with the growth, and be able to answer and then they could, water and wastewater, it might come down to they're just looking after the aqua contract, or, still overseeing the people we still have working for us, that kind of thing. And that's why I say this is just kind of a roadmap. It's not set in stone. Like some of this stuff might move around, but it's just kind of where I see where we need help, right? So
just one more question, if I may. So I like where we're going here. Like, I think it's a really good start, as Deputy Mayor Loveland indicated. So what would the process look like? What steps should council take in the short term so we can begin to initiate the process? Because we've been a long time since we've got to this point, and I understand all the complexities of everything, but I just feel like it's something that we have to address to support your position as well and to support the municipality. So I think it needs to be done rather than sooner, or sooner than later, I guess, let me put it that way. And that we need to address it as a council, and what does that look like? So I would like to address that to council. What does that look like? How do we pursue this and move forward in your best interest? So,
Um,
I'll just step in. I think we're going to get into topics we can't discuss here in open. And my suggestion would be the next meeting to have a closed session and deal with this very issue. And there's a number of issues that are getting into personal issues. So,
and that's all I'm asking. I totally understand the, you know, keeping it within council, as long as there's direction. I think what council in general is looking for. So, again, I do want to emphasize that this is a really good start, and I'm really happy with where this is going. So,
and I also think too, it's council's decision, which one they'd rather see, the engineering tech or like, either way is a help to me. Like if some of that stuff comes off my plate, either way, deputy treasurer or, so it's what council feels where they want to go, right? Which way they want to head to, because both are very important positions as far as I'm concerned for the future of this municipality. So really it's which way, where staff or council wants to start. So.
can we have this discussion at the next council meeting?
I think.
And we'll enter into a closed session and deal with it a little more thoroughly. Is council agreeable to that? Okay.
Good, Mayor, was that a question?
Do you have a question, Councillor Doulard?
No, actually, Tracy, you kind of answered my question because I was gonna kind of put you on the spot and say I wanted you to do some thinking about in your heart of hearts, where do you really need the most help? And I think that it's a toss up for you, but if you're leaning one way or the other, that would be really helpful for us to know as we're moving forward.
Yeah, and I think because we got, since council allowed me to get that citywide, the asset management software, I think the engineering tech probably is very important right now because I need help getting that stuff entered so that I can spit out the financial information that I promised council. So, but then again, if I'm busy doing other stuff, it'd be nice to have somebody that can do more high-end financial stuff for me. So it's it's a let's win a lottery and get both kind of thing.
But we'll be looking for your recommendation throughout the process. Okay. Is council okay with that report? We'll move on to the next one. And we can squeeze it in before 5:30. Water distribution services agreement. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Hens. So as you guys are all aware, Aqua came and did that presentation on March 13th. And we put together a kind of working group with Deputy Mayor Loveland, myself, Tim, and a couple Aqua people. And we went through the whole scope of work that they had mentioned, how the questions that you guys have asked. And they've come back with a letter stating what the contract is going to come in at. So basically this is, I want to get council's okay that I say we've received the letter and we're okay with it, and then they will start with the doing up the agreement. So that's why this is on the table tonight. So I think I also attached the scope of work that we discussed in that working group. So you guys could all have a good idea of what we discussed.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Loveland and Councillor Dreyfus, you were on that committee. You sat down with Aqua. Is this kind of where that meeting led you?
Yeah, I completely agree that it did, and I think that we are fortunate. Our existing water staff is certainly prepared to work with Aqua, and vice versa. So I think it'll be a pretty easy changeover.
Councillor Dreyfus?
I agree with Deputy Mayor Loveland. I thought it was a great process. I think it was very fair on both sides, and I think we came to the kind of agreement that we need to move forward. And so I'm quite satisfied with where everything's together.
And we're confident when Tim walks out that door for the last time that it's going to be almost seamless transition.
See that?
Well, I feel pretty good about it.
Pretty good.
No, I trust him.
He won't stay. You got to get past it.
I did ask him today again.
I know you did. Okay, we got to backtrack. The first report, the organizational structure review, we have a resolution on that. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO Treasurer titled Organizational Structure Review dated May 8th, 2024 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
And the water distribution service agreement, there's a resolution as well. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO Treasurer titled Water Distribution Services Agreement dated May 8th, 2024 for information, and that Council authorize staff to acknowledge receipt of Aqua's final pricing letter and have Aqua proceed with creating a templated agreement for review. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. It is now 5:30. So we're going to go back in our agenda of the planning department, and it is an application for zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 03/24 at 8846 Homestead Road and vacant land on the east side of Homestead Road, the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, for Robert and Crystal Lukings. They're the property owners. This is a public meeting. So I'll go on with my spiel. This is a public meeting as required by Section 34 of the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject property from special rural residential holding RSH zone to agricultural A1 zone and agricultural A1 zone to a defined area special rural residential holding RS-30H zone. The subject property is locally known as 8846 Homestead Road and vacant land on the east side of Homestead Road in the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. And let me backtrack. Did we have to have a resolution going to open or into a public meeting? My apologies.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 03/24 filed by Robert Crystal Lukings for property located at 8846 Homestead Road and vacant land on the east side of Homestead Road opens at 5:31 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
And I shall continue. Does any member of council have a disclosure of interest concerning the proposals? See none. What method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
A sign was posted on the subject property by the April 19th, 2024 deadline, and notices were mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject property on April 17th, 2024.
Thank you. I will now introduce our planner, Tracy, to present her report.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the council has seen this proposal for the severance, E0923 previously. It's a lot line adjustment, so it's a shift or a swap of property. So taking property from Homestead Road, merging it with the larger farm so that a new lot on Iona Road can be created for the purpose of developing a new home. The condition to that severance is that they needed a zoning bylaw amendment. So currently the property is made up of two, and at the end of the day, we still end up with two. In my report, I should note that on page 2, under purpose of application, the first description of the property, that paragraph should be removed. It talks about depth, lot area, and lot frontage. That was in error and added to the report. And it was also in the notice. So just to correct that, the severed parcel is 1.6 hectares along Iona Road. The retained parcel is 8.1 hectares. It'll be merged to the 2.8 hectare for a new total of 30.9 hectares. So the zoning bylaw amendment will then change. I'm gonna go. It'll change the property along Iona Road, which is the severed piece. It'll be rezoned to a rural residential site-specific zoning with a holding on it. That was a request that council wanted because there may be some servicing limitations. So the holding is there to ensure that no building permit is issued until all of the criteria is satisfied, especially with water services. And then the other piece comes out of a RS zone and gets put into an A1 zone. And there's already a house on there, so there's no new building that will be constructed on that parcel. When reviewing the site-specific, it was determined that the new lot, the maximum lot area is bigger than what's required, so a relief will be added to that zoning bylaw amendment. And also on that zoning assessment, there was an error. The minimum lot area was noted as 1.4 hectares. It should have actually said 1.6 hectares. There was a last minute change in the severance application, so that error got pulled in. But 1.6 is what the increase in maximum lot area will be. So administration recommends that the zoning bylaw amendment be approved. And the applicant's agent has confirmed that the lots are legal lot of records and that can be merged. That was another concern council had at the time of severance. But a final survey does still need to be submitted to us as a condition, and an undertaking confirming that by the lawyer is required. And the applicant and the owner is present this evening to help answer any questions that you might have at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you. Have you received any comments from staff?
Yes, as summarized in the planner's report.
Did you receive any written submissions on this application?
Yes, as summarized in the planner's report.
Before I open the floor to questions from the public, please be advised that if any person from the public wishes to receive further information on the action of council regarding the passing of a bylaw on the proposed amendment, please ensure that they leave their name, address, and postal code with the clerk prior to leaving the meeting. I will now ask the public if there are any questions, if anyone has joined us on this issue. Okay. Do council members have any questions? Okay. Any further questions from council or the public? I see and hear nothing. Okay. If there are, I'll ask the landowner, do you wish to comment? You took the time to come here tonight. Okay, thank you. If there are no further questions, please be advised that any person wishing further information on the actions of council regarding the passing of a bylaw on the proposed amendment should leave their name, address, and postal code with the clerk prior to leaving the meeting. If you are not the applicant, you should request a copy of the decision since it may be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal by the applicant or another member of the public. The last day to appeal is May 29th, 2024. Okay. Tara.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Application for Zoning Bylaw Amendment ZBA 03/24 8846 Homestead Road and vacant land on the east side of Homestead Road, municipality of Dutton Dunwich, Robert Cole and Crystal Lukings, property owners, dated May 8th, 2024 for information. And that council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 03/24 for property located at 8846 Homestead Road and vacant land on the east side of Homestead Road from special rural residential holding RSH zone to agricultural A1 zone and agricultural A1 zone to defined area special rural residential holding RS-30H zone in accordance with the site-specific bylaw. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. This
And then-
public meeting is now concluded.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the public meeting for the zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 03/24 filed by Robert and Crystal Lukings for property located at 8846 Homestead Road and vacant land on the east side of Homestead Road closes at 5:39 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay.
And we're at number 10.
Okay. Just don't want to miss anything.
Tara will kick you.
I know she won't. Thank you. We're going to number 10, other staff reports, and A is the 2024 Silver Clay Culvert Tender results. Does council wish to comment on that one? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drewlard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the manager of roads and facilities titled 2024 Silver Clay Culvert Tender Results dated May 8th, 2024 for information, and that council award the 2024 Silver Clay Culvert Tender to Vandenberg Construction in the amount of $419,486 plus HST. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And item B is a mutual agreement drain on Salina Street. And I don't know whether Brent wishes to comment on that one or not, but the report is in front of council. Any? Go ahead, Councillor Pemberton.
Yeah, so I guess I was kind of one that brought this forward way back when it happened. I have no problem with what Brent's suggesting here. My only concern is the developer continues to say he's going to mobilize his forces, but nothing has happened at this point in time. But with what has been suggested in the report, that the CBO has got an upgraded lot grading plan, and it'll be looked at by her and a third-party engineer to make sure the grading is done completely correctly. I'm okay with moving forward with what's being suggested here.
Okay. Anything further on that one, Brent, here? It's been contentious, so we'll take a few minutes on this one.
No, nothing further. The lot grading plan that was resubmitted has been reviewed by Jackie and the levy. And so now we're waiting for him to get that work done. And then it'll come back from Kim Husted, who's the surveyor, will confirm and stamp a drawing stating that what the final condition of the lot is what was in the approved lot grading plan. And the reason for bringing this forth is time is marching on and the consent application's getting near the end of the deadline. And if we waited to bring it to council after everything was final, we might not be able to actually enter into the agreement till the severance lapsed. So this was to hopefully keep everything moving along efficiently.
Okay, thank you. Everybody's good with that? We'll deal with the resolution.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the drainage superintendent titled Mutual Agreement Drain Salina Street dated May 8th, 2024 for information, and that council agrees to enter into a mutual agreement drain with the owner of 254 Marsh Line to cross approximately 10 feet of the Salina Street allowance to connect to the existing 600 millimeter municipal drain on the condition that the developer provides a stamped final lot grading certificate from a surveyor or engineer that confirms that the lot has been completed to the design that was approved by the chief building official and municipal consultant management at the levy, and that the chief building official, on receipt of this stamped final lot grading plan, will notify the planner and the clerk that such plan was received. And further, that once the condition has been met, council instructs the mayor to sign the mutual agreement drain and forward a copy to the owner of 254 Marsh Line and place another copy in the roll file. All in favor? and that's carried.
Thank you. Thank you, Brent. Is there any unfinished business? Staff or council? And under new business, we're going to discuss the fire department. And we have Chief MacArthur with us, and we are in open. We can keep this general and talk about procedure and all that at this point in time. And so Chief MacArthur, if you want to step forward, please. I'm going to let you lead off the discussion, and then you touched on it a little bit, but let's just talk about procedure and process for coming up with your deputy chief, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. Thank you. Through the chair to council, I'll just acknowledge there's no prepared report on this, but happy to talk as necessary and appropriate. So, yeah, I've touched on it in the monthly report. I know council's well aware, but I came here in the interim position December, I believe it was. And now we've, as of April 1st, created an agreement, I guess, for fire chief and fire admin services. So, yeah, I was generally aware of the operations of the department leading up. And I mean, I in the past had communications with Chief Lundy as necessary and Chief Schul as necessary as well. So I had kind of a general understanding of the fire department and personnel and staffing. So March, I guess it was, or April, I apologize. But anyways, we put a posting out for deputy chief. Obviously, there was an interim deputy chief position put in place in August, or again, I don't know the exact timeline, but mid last year, after I believe the retirement of the previous deputy chief. So we put out the posting, and I always encourage everyone to apply to a position, whether they're fully qualified or whether they feel they're fully qualified or fully confident. I always think it encourages or shows interest in the fire department. So that's always kind of been my stance to apply. So anyways, we had 3 applicants for the position, and we interviewed them all. So we had this, I did mention previously, but the interview panel of three of us, including myself. Interview questions were the same for everybody. And so based on the interview, qualifications, experience, what information I had available to me leading up to the position, or the timeline, I guess, where we are now, and kind of looking ahead to where we want the fire department to go. The decision between the 3 interviewees or interviewers, I guess, on the panel was the same. And so that's where the bylaw recommendation comes from. So.
Okay, I'll open the floor to any questions from council. And I do have one, but I'll wait. Go ahead, Deputy McLaughlin.
I completely, understand that, and I guess we got to be careful what we say. We're open here, but I feel Jeff's decision is probably well thought through. I don't know if we're going to discuss this further in open or in closed or not, but I think we probably would be nice to get a little more information along with the appointment bylaw, and maybe next time it's something we could work a little bit towards, so that we don't appear to be just rubber stamping a decision that we have no input in, not input is wrong, no information on how it was made. So.
Any further questions? Just one. There was an independent report done of the fire department, and you have had access and you have read that report, Chief MacArthur.
Yes, that's correct. I have and reviewed it quite recently. There's again, acknowledging we're in open right now, but there's a lot there. I will say there's plenty of working points in there, recommendations. I think and just as a department as a whole, coming in, I realize that communication is one thing that has definitely has room for improvement, and that's all the way around. that's from, I guess, the top down, the bottom up, sideways, however you want to call it. And so that's something we've strived for. There's my position is, there's some things that say deputy chief would be in the loop for. There's some things that all the officers would be in the loop for. Often a lot of the information can go out to the whole fire department. And I mean, I think it's fair to say that not everyone is always going to agree with every decision. Again, that's the kind of what I commonly say, but I do feel strongly that everyone should at least be in the know. And yes, things do get missed every once in a while. It's not out of intent, but I do try to, and I don't try to do it with death by email either. But one thing I have implemented in other departments that I found quite effective is just a simple memo. I'm not sure what if there's anything internally in the office here, but and it's not something we use, I don't know, half a dozen times throughout the year maybe or more, but a memo. So it's a little more formal than maybe an email per se, but just we've implemented actually just last night we had the monthly meeting and we're into a routine now of going through the incidents for the previous month to review them, and the floor is open for any comments or criticism or good points or whatever it may be. Operating guidelines. So we actually introduced, I believe it was 4 or 5 new operating guidelines last night. And we are implementing new paperwork. That is, I think, one area that I've kind of identified needs some improvement. And I think many of the existing members would most likely agree that there's definitely a need for some documentation on certain things. Real quick example, scene release form. So that's one document we implemented last night. So basically, if the fire department's at a scene where it doesn't necessarily have to be a fire, but a fire or a call where maybe there's carbon monoxide present or something that we've advised maybe the resident to take certain action, we'll do a scene release form, which just obviously documents what we've told them, takes a little bit of liability off us, that it's written, they get a copy, we get a copy. So anyways, items like that is a good thing, I think, to communicate through a memo. So we've had the last couple of first Tuesdays of the month, we've had the majority, I'd say over 90% of the department there. So great turnout, but there's always a few people that aren't there, right? So you don't want to exclude them from the messaging. So I think a combination of email, memos. We have the First Do app, which has a great road close. For example, today, there's a road closure. So, and actually Murray sent it out from the road's perspective, or I sent it out in the morning and then he updated it when the road was reopened, I should say. So that's another more just day-to-day kind of simple trucks out of service, that kind of thing. So sorry, just to come back around to communication. That's, I know, one thing that as a department we really need to include. But yes, I am aware of, and there's always, in any fire department organization, there's always some personnel issues. And not everybody always agrees 100% on everything, but and never will. But we're looking to kind of bring that together and find some common ground. And I'll be honest, not everybody's going to agree with everything we do going forward. But the intent is that we communicate that and keep everybody engaged and involved. So.
Thank you. Go ahead.
All in all, are you happy with the morale to date at the fire hall, and are you feeling accepted as the chief? I think that's primary on my point, because I really don't know a whole lot about what you guys do all the time. I know it's very important in our community, and it's important that the morale's right and that you feel accepted in your position. And I hope on behalf of council that you feel that we're happy that you're here. So that's just a general question.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And through the chair, I think it's a, I mean, I'm a long life neighbor to Dutton Dunwich. I've always lived in Elgin County, but I obviously I'm not a resident per se in Dutton Dunwich, but have known some of the firefighters for a long time. And yeah, I would say I've known a lot of them, and then there's several new members, obviously in the past few years, but generally it was coming into somewhat of a familiar group, but by no means do I know anyone really well. So I think that, and this position is a lot of, which has shifted in the fire service over the past number of years, is to more of an administrative manager position. And I know that's changed right across the county and right across Southern Ontario. So that's a little different perspective. And that's a balance with still coming to training as necessary and incidents as necessary. But yes, I felt welcome. I have stated a couple times, or at least once at a Tuesday meeting, and tried to remind the firefighters a couple times that, hey, I try to keep the communication equal to everybody. I don't try to play favorites, I guess, to be honest. We're all, at the end of the day, we're all here for the same job. And yeah, there's going to be times that some of the officers, I'll use training as an example, or if the fire prevention officer we get in place, obviously there's going to be some communication between them that not everybody else is going to be in the loop on, but generally we're on the same page there and moving forward. So no, I appreciate that. And I think, and I guess the other thing I said is, hey, if please come to me if we're gonna have communication. If you don't like the answer I give you, then obviously there's other avenues to pursue. But we're trying to have the courtesy both ways. So I'll communicate to you guys and girls as a group, as a fire department. And if there's something up, please come to me. I got an open door policy. I mean, call me. I think still obviously getting to know the members of the fire department here, but generally with the other departments, most of them know they can get a hold of me almost 24/7 by text even, or phone call, right? So maybe that's putting myself out there a little too much, but I try to be easily available. So I hope, and that's something that will take time. I know, and I acknowledge the previous chief was here for many years. So there is some change that they've experienced in the past couple of years with an interim chief that came in and was here a couple of years. I don't know exactly off the top of my head. And then another change. So yeah, there's obviously been some changes, and not everybody likes change, but we're trying to kind of move forward as a group. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from council? Thank you for coming in tonight. It wasn't planned. And I know that I speak for council. We're delighted that you're heading up our fire department. You have the support of council.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think one thing I've strived for is, and I hope that message has got across, is professionalism, communication, safety. And that's, I think, if we're all kind of on that same page, generally speaking, then I'm sure we can move forward, move together. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good, thanks, Jeff.
We'll move on to announcements, and anybody want to deal with that, or?
So the AMO delegations are opened up and we have a deadline of June 7th. So we're just looking for council direction on who you'd like us to apply for a delegation to.
I'll just state that through the county, I am attending AMO in Ottawa in August, and I'd be more than happy to make a delegation for whatever council sees fit. I got my fingers slapped a little bit on a email chain, and rightly so.
I didn't realize it was through everybody.
I made a suggestion because we're dealing with our doctors and it's a big part of our budget, and I'd be happy to meet with the Ministry of Health. Now, our CEO doesn't think it would help, and I had a conversation with Deputy Mayor. He didn't think it would help. I just threw it out there. So I'm throwing it out there now. Where do we go? Or do I just hang out at the hotel? Suggestions? It is. My thinking on the health was we almost made it into a London health unit.
Team, yeah, health team.
And we know that health units are underfunded. The county is asked, or gets a request, I think last year, an extra $187,000. They're underfunded, and I think that's part of the reason. Suddenly their focus got shifted away from what we were proposing here to deal with addiction and everything. So my thought is if these health units were funded, then maybe there's an opportunity for us to join something like that. But I may be off base, but that's my thought process.
I mean, I guess if that was council's wishes, we could do up a, same kind of thing we did when we were looking at the budget, right? And that, to have two doctors in our town, it's costing us $300,000, which is 6% of our tax rate. Which everybody knows could go a long ways to other stuff, right? So, I mean, if you propose it to the ministry that way, I mean, I think there's a lot of small rural northern communities that are dealing with the same thing, to have a doctor, and the ministry has got to step in at some point and realize that municipalities are not in the healthcare business. So.
Mayor Loveland.
I just wanted to make a comment. I saw an announcement the other day that the Elgin Health Team, and I think we're a member of that, they did get some substantial additional funding. I don't know if that's what that's going to be used for or anything. It was just an announcement I read, so. I mean,
I was, yeah. Read that.
and I don't know if there's anything that group can help us with. I guess my thought is even the blood clinic, if they could pick up some of those costs, it would help reduce this, because that serves more than our doctors and more than our residents as well.
Is there somebody we could ask?
I can reach out to the doctor recruiter and see if she can get me in contact with somebody with the Elgin Foe, but that's who the doctors work for, is the Elgin Foe. So if there's any money coming, it's going to them, so.
Getting back to AMO, I think, I'm not sure you look at it in the perspective of like, what can you do for me now? But it raises red flags. And I don't think you can raise enough red flags, to be honest with you. And then I'd also like to know statistically how many municipalities are actually funding doctors across Ontario. Where are the pressure points that are impacting Ontario? And then that would probably tell a story too, right? It's so I think if I don't know if there's that kind of information is available, easy, or I don't know, but I understand exactly where Deputy Mayor and Tracy are coming from. Would it help? But we did it with our wastewater. We raised red flags enough at two different locations. Is it the end of the story? We don't know yet, but more money came into the system because enough people raised a red flag. So I guess that's the only reason why I would do it, because I don't think personally it would benefit us directly, but it might in the big picture. So.
That's an excellent point, and I believe this, that not just Dutton Dunwich, meeting with the Minister of Infrastructure, but she had a lineup. Everybody's telling the same story, and after a while, it takes a while, you keep the pressure on, and the provincial government has responded in a big way on infrastructure funding. Not out of the goodness of their heart, but because people have been pressing them on that issue. So I agree. You may think you're getting nowhere, but it's still worth the effort. Councillor Drewler.
I would tend to agree with Councillor Dreyfus, because there is a big push because healthcare is underfunded in so many respects. And we, like he said, if we keep the red flags coming up and others do the same, eventually the government's going to have to respond and do something. And maybe it doesn't serve our purpose in the moment, but it may down the road help us out. So I would agree with you that perhaps keeping the red flag raised is really important.
It was a big topic at Roma. Yes, it was a big topic. So, yeah. So.
Does council object to staff putting together a brief on our situation? And I'll take it to the Minister of Health because it's a real problem.
I have no objection to that.
No objection. I think you're there anyway. If you're there anyway, I would highly recommend it personally.
Is nobody else going? Nobody else? Nobody?
The only reason I'm going is the county's paying for it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think
No.
you'd give me the money.
Ottawa for all of it.
Yes. I didn't know if anybody actually had, I sent the thing, but
I've been to Ottawa before at AMO. It's excellent. I've been to Windsor at AMO and I've been to London. So it's an excellent conference. It's costly, but like I said, the county's dime is on this one. So we'll have staff put together a brief and we'll share it with council and just lay it on the line what small municipalities are dealing with. Okay. Thank you for that. Any other delegations? I can do more than one, but we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, let's move on to proposed bylaws.
just do 1 and 2.
Pardon?
I think we wanted to do
Oh, okay. We can do that. Let's go to C, the 2024-23 appoint deputy fire.
leave that one.
You want to leave that one?
Yeah.
You said you wanted to do it.
No, we don't want to do after that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, do we go into close then?
We could do the first two.
Okay. 2024-21 Emergency Management Program Bylaw. Tara, please.
I'll just add that this is that housekeeping item. We have been talking about how the CEMC will be coming back to myself as primary, and then we'll have the county as the alternates. And we're also updating the EIO position. Since Kate has retired, it's now going to be Randy. Okay, so moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton. That bylaw 2024-21 being a bylaw to adopt an emergency management program and emergency response plan and to meet other requirements under the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Item B, 2024-22 ZBA 03-24 the Lukings.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Droulard, that bylaw 2024-22 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-50 for property municipally known as 8846 Homestead Road and vacant land on the east side of Homestead Road be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. Well, we will go into closed
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
Moved by Droulard, seconded by Loveland, that the council for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich now moves into a session of the meeting that shall be closed to the public at 6:07 PM in accordance with section 2392 of the Municipal Act, SO 2001, chapter 25, for discussion of the following matters: litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, section 2392E of the Municipal Act for 9347 Curry Road. B, labor relations or employee negotiations, section 2392D of the Municipal Act for the Medical Center. C, personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal employees, section 2392B of the Municipal Act for the Fire Department. All in favor? And that's carried.
Anybody need 5? Let's take 5 and Tara can lock us down. It doesn't.
It
Okay,
just
thank
takes
you.
a minute.
Thank you. Okay, we got to go back to 14. We left one bylaw that we didn't deal with. And it is the 2024-23 appoint deputy fire chief Barry Gregory.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2024-23 being a bylaw to appoint a deputy fire chief be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. Item 16, confirm proceedings. Clerk Tara.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2024-24, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, we see the future meetings, and the last one is the adjournment.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Goulart, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 8:13 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you, everyone.
The last one, so you move your two calls.